The mini state of Monaco, surrounded by France. It's all about fancy stuff here, luxury brands and fancy expensive cars. However, we'll be taking one of the most fancy vehicles possible from and to Monaco. What is the train? This 70 million euro vehicle also comes including a driver, and guess what? It's also way more sustainable. Join me pre-editing here at home on this international train from Monaco to France, but this train also continues to Italy. I'll tell you more about this in the video, but for now let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. To start with this video, let's take a closer look at the map and our route for the train for today. Our train actually started in Grasse and will go via Cannes and Nice, and obviously Monaco to Ventimiglia, what is just across the border from France in Italy, and from where on you find many long distance trains into Italy. If you count Monaco as a country, what it actually is, this train will serve 3 countries. In this video I will also feature the railway station of Cannes at the end of the video. And for the railway station of Nice and Ventimiglia, you will find other videos you can find in the description of this video. At the end of the video I also get back to international connections from and to here. But for now let's start off with the railway station of Monaco. This railway station has been completely built underground, or I should basically say has built within a rock. And actually it feels kind of like a rabbit hole, because there are so many entrances and exits all over Monaco. You just walk in the street on some points of Monaco and before you know it you see your entrance to the railway station. We were a bit surprised when it comes to this, but I'll show you this all in a bit. This here is at what I think you can call the kind of main concourse of Monaco. This is so spread out, it's really hard to define what is the main entrance of this railway station or not. But anyway, there are quite some shops over here. There's a boutique. I mean, hey, trains are fancy, these are expensive vehicles, so they need a boutique shop. So it sounds fancier to buy some train tickets. However, you can also use an app, and obviously there are vending machines as well throughout the station. Monaco is a country that is just not it in many ways, because it's just not the smallest country in the world, and it's also just not the most dense populated country in the world. However, with a size of just over 2 square kilometers and a population of roughly 37,000 people, this is a very small and very dense populated country. Over here there are some taxi stands, and there's even a small parking garage right next to the railway station. And if you want to go to the town, you have to go up here with the elevators on the right. But there's something more we can explore, because within the railway station it has been clearly marked what way you need to go to for what touristical attractions. And also there's even a special touristic information point with an interactive screen. How convenient is that? Anyway, for now let's go up with these elevators to, I think, what is the main entrance of this railway station. At this entrance you also find many buses that do serve obviously Monaco, but since it's such a small country, also some areas around Monaco. If you have the view here from the bigger windows, what I didn't put that well on camera, you actually have a really nice view on the city as well. Over here you'll find the bus stops, and yeah, this is not the most special area of Monaco, I have to say. However, if you walk to the other side of the street, you get some glimpse of how dense populated this micro-state is. Even though it has a very rough terrain, you find buildings and high-rise buildings everywhere. And obviously Monaco is also a lot about expensive brands and very fancy cars. Well, personally I don't have anything with these fancy cars, and I don't get it, but some people just absolutely love it and took a lot of pictures. So if you like fancy cars, I think this is definitely the place to go to for you. If I may choose a car, I think this little Smart Ford 2 would be more my kind of car. Very practical and useful in the city. Although I'm more the kind of public transport person, but I guess you know this if you're familiar with this channel. And somehow I guess if I would have the amount of money to spend on such a big fancy car, I'd rather invest this in a way that I can make a social impact. And of course, by investing your money socially, you can still make a profit, and this profit you can also invest to make a bigger impact. Anyway, it felt like throughout the city there were some random entrances with very long hallways to the railway station. Apart from the entrance I showed you at the beginning of this video, there was also this one with a very long tunnel to the railway station. A quick interruption of this video. If you like this video or if it's a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. And if you have any questions or even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And at last, if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is cross-bordering and or long-distance traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. For now, let's continue with this video. Back to the long tunnel at Monaco railway station. At the end of this tunnel, close to the railway station, there are some more shops, and obviously there are vending machines here as well. Throughout the railway station there are plenty of screens that will host information about departing trains, and there are also some screens that will host information about arriving trains. Trains that do serve this railway station are actually only regional trains. From Nice you will find high-speed trains to Paris, although the high-speed line will only start after Marseille. And from Ventimiglia you will find long-distance trains to Milan. So it's actually quite good reachable, although you won't find that much long distance trains, or basically none, from and to here. If you are here, just keep in mind that the platform is really long. It's almost 500 meters. And in a country that is only 2 square kilometers, this is just, well, quite impressively big. This here felt to me like the actually main entrance of the railway station. And this is mainly because this is the only part in the railway station where you have clear daylight. And this is basically at the same site as the part I showed you before, where you went up with the elevator. But then this is the lower part. Over here there's also a piano you can play, and there are even some remote offices. Like I already mentioned before, directions have been marked crystal clear throughout the station, with of course the use of icons, but also everything has been mentioned in French obviously, and like in all French railway stations, also in English, and the third language in this station is Italian. Announcements in this railway station are also being made in these 3 languages. And even though this is a railway station in the microstate of Monaco, the railway station itself is in many ways very French. But on this route you can expect different kinds of regional trains. Some of them look like they have been refurbished, and some others are a bit older. There were also some newer train types, but I didn't put those on camera. The train jumps I have on camera are these trains, and these here are in the Monaco livery. I think that suits best for this video. Although the interior is the same as the trains that have the non-Monaco livery. Although these trains you can see here at the back. Apart from the train that I will show you in this video, I also noticed exactly the same train types, but then they have been refurbished and actually they look way nicer. And there are also some newer trains that I also didn't put on camera. The regional trains in France do come in 1 class only, what is 2nd class or standard class. And for now let's do a train tour. I will show you the interior of the Monaco livery. However, this is basically the same as exactly the same non-refurbished trains that do have the non-Monaco livery. These trains do come in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle. However, at some spots you also find these couches that are actually quite comfortable. At the very end or the beginning of the train, depending what way the train is moving, you will find the disabled area, so basically suitable for passengers traveling in a wheelchair, and this is also where there's more space if you're traveling with a bike. The lower deck also has in general a little bit more space for luggage. However, obviously you also find some space for luggage at the upper deck, although it's not that impressive to be honest. The area between the carriages, over here you find some more couches, and also the overhead luggage racks are way bigger. I also noticed this here at several spots. It looked like this was originally used for something else, but can be used for luggage space as well now. The regular non-accessible toilets are located at the vestibules of these trains. Over here, the red seats, this was originally the first class, but really it's not that much different as the area that has the blue seats, what is the original second class. Let's do a seat tour for the regular airline style composition seats. And actually the legroom is not that impressive, but it's actually still quite comfortable, and these seats are really comfortable as well. The tables are really big and sturdy, and at all windows, both at the upper and the lower deck, you will find sunscreens. You might need this in the hot French summers. Dedicated luggage racks are located right under the stairs at the lower deck, and you find very small dedicated luggage racks like this at the upper deck. It's really small, and the overhead luggage racks, and especially at the upper decks, are extremely tiny. They're maybe just good enough for a coat and an umbrella, but that's basically it. By the way, at the side you will find power sockets, and you can find this all over the train, what's really comfortable. There are no litter bins near the seats, however, between the carriages at the vestibules there are quite some litter bins as well. LED screens at the end of the open compartments, both at the upper and the lower deck, and also between the carriages at the vestibules, will host route information. This is all very basic, but in the more modern trains you'll find more detailed screens. Well, these trains are not super special. These are quite comfortable regional trains. And I like these trains. Because no train tour is complete without showing you the regular toilets as well. This is how they are. Well, it's not a real toilet tour, I just put my camera in and that's basically it. Have you traveled on one of these trains before, and how do you like them? Or would you like to travel on one of these trains? Just let me know in the comments. I also featured exactly these train times before when I, well, kind of just started with this YouTube channel on the route Luxembourg-Metz, and actually on some more smaller railway lines between Luxembourg and France as well. Well, this video doesn't have a lot of chronological order. For now I'll just show you some views from the train between Cannes and Monaco, and I'll get back to you right at the end of the video and show you the railway station of Cannes, because why not? We can do it. At the very end of the video I also get back on connections on how to go and leave here without flying, because there are many ways to do so. For now, enjoy the views from the train along this beautiful route. Well, this is definitely a beautiful train ride, and if you take the high-speed train from Paris, for example, you have a really beautiful part along the coast as well, but I didn't show you in this video. Cannes is definitely another very fancy town along the coast, and it's also known for the famous film festival of Cannes. But hey, we're not here to see any of this. So let's move to the railway station of Cannes. This is not as big as the railway station of Monaco, but it's still quite a good railway station. In terms of public transportation after the train, so mainly buses, this feels much better as the railway station of Monaco. At least you have a better overview at the front for the buses. The railway station itself has all the basic facilities you might expect for a railway station of this size. There are quite some shops where you can buy some food and drink for your journey, some magazines, you name it. And obviously there are quite some spots where you can just take a sit and also charge your mobile devices. Screens throughout the railway station do host information about both departing and arriving trains from and to here. For the long distance trains, so then I'm mainly talking about the TGV Inouï and the WeGo trains, there is a kind of a boarding process. And this is something you can see here on the right. I felt like those trains do mainly depart from platform number A, at least the trains to Paris. These trains also go to Nice from here. Even though this is not located directly on a high-speed line, there are some plans to build a high-speed line along the Côte d'Azur as well. And personally I have very mixed feelings about this. I mean, on one hand it's nice that the travel time to Paris will be reduced a lot. On the other hand, especially the section of the railroad that is going straight along the coast, this part is stunning and I would love to keep it like this as it is right now. However, a fact is, if you're traveling for example between Nice and Paris, about half of the travel time is between Nice and Marseille, what is only a small section of the entire route. Between Marseille and Paris, you just zoom like a bullet with 300 km per hour. Apart from these high-speed trains, you will also find sleeper trains from and to here. And they might be slower, but since you're traveling and sleeping at the same time, you just spend your time more efficient. By the way, these sleeper trains in France are really good for international journeys as well, because they will go close to the borders with both Italy and Spain. For now, let's take a closer look at the European railway map for high-speed lines and the most important international railway lines. There are way more railway lines as what you can see on this map, also international. If you're traveling from the UK, Belgium, the Netherlands, big parts of Germany and Spain, you can travel with high-speed trains to Marseille. From and to Marseille you'll find high-speed trains to Germany, Belgium, Spain, and in the summertime there's also one direct train per week to the Netherlands and the UK. From Marseille you can change on to other trains towards Nice and Monaco. There are some TGV trains that do also go to Nice, and this is basically where the long distance trains in France do terminate. However, Monaco is located a little bit more east from Nice, so then you can travel with local trains to Monaco. If you're traveling from Switzerland, Austria, big parts of Germany, and well, let's say Eastern Europe, you can travel to Milan by train. And there are many international trains from and to Milan. In Milan you can change to an intercity to Ventimiglia, what is not that far away from Monaco. This train also continues to Cannes, by the way. And we talk a lot about the train as a more sustainable way of transportation. However, I like to substantiate the figures as well. This graph here shows the environmental impact if you're traveling by train, car and plane between Rotterdam in the Netherlands, where I started my high-speed railway journey, to Nice in France, what is more or less between Cannes and Monaco. And you can mention numbers like, for example, that the plane is 965% more polluting than taking the train on this exact route. But we can also take a different approach for this. So I roughly calculated the gas usage of our house over the last winter. This is for heating up our house and also to shower for 2 people. We are also working from home a lot. And we don't have a really new house, although we took some extra measures to insulate our house a bit. And what turns out, if you fly return for 2 people, the total pollution is bigger than what we need to heat up our house for more than 1 winter, including showering. This really surprises me. I have to add up to this though. We are cooking electric and we do have solar panels as well. But cooking is not the biggest uses of gas. That's mainly heating up the house. And I don't get this. I mean, we are all asked with big campaigns to lower our heating at home a little bit. But just look at these numbers of the aviation industry. I think they speak for itself. And the reason why this makes me really angry is because the aviation industry is growing and there are a lot of, well, kind of measures to stop the aviation industry. Like in France, there are no domestic flights allowed anymore that can be done by train under 2 hours. But this is really not a big impact at all. We really need to do more, and the aviation industry is having a very big mouth about sustainability. But how are you going to be more sustainable with these differences? Well, I don't say we should stop flying at all. I also think that's not realistic. But at least I think if we fly, we should really consider if it's necessary to fly. And especially short and medium long distance flights are not needed. Especially not within Europe. I also count this difference in meat per eating, for example. And you can eat 18 kilograms of beef, what is the most polluting meat, by the way, and the meat industry is being well known for being very polluting. And take the train from Rotterdam to Nice to have the same impact as going one time by plane. Let me get this very clear. I'm not pointing to individual persons all the time. However, the big corporations definitely need to change something, and you as an individual person, you can also make an impact. And I don't say we all have to become vegan and we all should stop totally flying. I just think the aviation industry can do much more than what they are doing right now. And I know they're working on being more sustainable, but they have a very long way to go. Let me highlight this as well, and especially for this area of France. I mean, Cannes and Monaco, these are very fancy places. The richest 1% of the entire world population has a bigger carbon footprint than the poorest 50% of the entire world population together. People who have a lot of money somehow also have an extremely big carbon footprint because they do fly a lot in business class or maybe even private jets, what is really not acceptable. And also those big yachts are not very environmental friendly as well. The 10% of richest people in the world are responsible for almost 50% of all global emissions. This is really a lot, and you are easier in this 10% than you might think at first. Because if you have a salary that is about 15,000 euro or 15,000 US dollar per year, you are already within the 10% richest people in the world. And yes, in many countries and especially in Western Europe, this might not even be enough money to make a suitable living. But just realize that this is quite a lot of money. By the way, did you know that taking a cruise holiday on sea is one of the worst types of holidays you can have? Well, I can make a whole dedicated video about this topic, but I think I already spent way too much time on this. Just the point I want to make, the train is a very sustainable way of transportation and we really need more trains. But there are definitely some challenges on the roads, or I should say railroad, to make train traveling more attractive and easier for everybody to book, and especially cross-bordering train traveling. That's it for this video. I'm right now in Nice. Actually, we spent some days here and now we'll continue our way to Italy. We'll be trip reports about that as well. And in that video I featured this railway station. For now, I hope this has been a helpful video to you, or you liked it, so probably both. If so, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. And if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. That's it for now. Before we really end up this video, one last thing. Once again, thank you for watching. If you are interested in other trip reports, of course you can find them on this channel and you can always subscribe so you can also see the newest videos. However, in the description of this video on YouTube, you also find a link to a map, and on this map you can also find all videos. See you on the next video.